All right, folks, here we are. Another week, the Live Life Progressive Show. You can see Hogan, Mike Marlowe with the line. After shouldn't even bring it up because we don't want to jinx ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring up
let's not talk about
that.
Let's
not talk about the S word that we
yesterday.
use to record these shows. You know, the little company that starts with S, ends with E, but should end with T. Okay, so
let's just say this. We had a really high-profile guest that everybody would have been excited to hear this week, but we had some issues with our technology that ended up not making the episode available. It didn't get recorded. Fortunately, we're able to reschedule this guy in November, so we'll definitely do it again. And we'll do a better episode, actually, because now he gave us so much to think about it. In some ways, I think it'll actually work out better for us and our audience because I get to look at your show notes and just write some more follow-up questions and look into a couple things and then have an even more intelligent conversation. Exactly. But all that said, it was a great episode, man. So it was really unfortunate. But we'll make a better episode. We'll get this one back out there. Definitely. But we have a great guest today, too. So we're going to get to him in a second. But just real quick, wanted to give some shout-outs to everyone who's been using that coupon code LLA to get 10% off the best nutrition supplements for optimal performance. And we have David Wilson, Sergio Cortez, Peter Klipp, Angel Torres, Stephen Thomas, Sphinx Patterson, Carmine Ochino, Spencer Baker, Tyson Bradley, Hank Kohler, and Jordan Taylor. They all have been using coupon code LLA to get 10% off the Mahler's Aggressive Strength Nutrition Supplement line. I've got my testosterone booster, which has now been improved with Sensorol Ashwagandha, which improves adrenal energy. Adrenals are a critical component of optimizing testosterone and your overall hormonal profile. So definitely check out the new formula. Same 3 ingredients that were there before, now with a new ingredient, which is Sensorol Ashwagandha. It's a patented form of ashwagandha that's highly concentrated. It's great stuff. So anyway, check out MikeMahler.com and use that coupon code. And what's been going on with you, man?
Yeah, same thing, man. We have listeners who've been using the LLA. Hey, man, let me take a sip of my coffee. Hold on.
Won't help.
Yeah. According to some of the guests we've had in the past, it won't. I don't know. Big shouts out to John. Okay, I'm about to screw this up.
Just make up a last name.
Charisky. To my Charisky John. Yeah, there we go. So big shouts out to John. Also Chris Beck and Josh Hedgecock using that coupon code LLA. In fact, I got a really cool shout out from Josh over on Twitter. That he's saying that the weight management 101 course that I have over at my website, neworriortraining.com, is highly recommended. You know, it's easy it's great, easy explanation of a complex topic, which is weight management. So thank you, Josh, for that shout out, man, and that testimony. I really appreciate that. So you can hop over to neworriortraining.com and you can see what Josh is talking about and agree with him by using that same coupon code as well. I also want to give big shouts out to our Patreon supporters. These are the people that support this show on a monthly basis with their monthly contributions. That's what keeps this show free of all these dollar boo-boo whatever clubs and whatever else advertisements that you hear on all these other podcasts that overwhelm you, so therefore you don't get as much content. All you get is a bunch of ads. Well, thanks to these people with Patreon, which you should be one of those people as well, over at patreon.com/LLA podcast. You too can help keep the show going and growing. Folks like Nurse Freya over in Australia, who continues to raise her pledges up each and every month because she truly likes the content that we're bringing on this show, and we truly appreciate her. Also Chris Ferguson, as well as who we have, Steve Sampson and Chris Webb as well, and Ben Buchanan. So you can become one of those Patreon supporters by starting off, going to the little box. You see that one where it says $1, put a 0 behind that. If that's a little too much for you at this moment, then go ahead and drop it down to $5. We'll take that. Start there. And that monthly contribution helps us keep the show in production and also helps us to find a better alternative than what we're using now, so we don't have a mishap like we had last week with last week's show. So we appreciate all you folks who are supporting us and also sending out our shout outs and also putting the links to the show in social media as well and sharing it with everyone, not keeping it all to yourself. So we appreciate all that. So yeah, there you go, man.
Yes, we have another great guest today, our good friend Ory Ortega, calling in from Panama.
Oh, that's the wrong country, man.
No, but that's like a little inside joke Jason Dolby and I always have. But after we did a course in Panama, whenever he and I would call each other on the phone, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm calling you from Panama." So Ory came out to a course that I promoted back in 2008, Collision Course, with Mark Philippi and John Brookfield, John Hives, myself, Dylan Thomas, Tom Furman. Sincere attended that course, and then Ory attended that course too.
Yes,
so that's actually how all of us met up. And then he came out to the Age of Coral course I did the next year. I went down to Panama with Jason Dolby, taught at his venue, met his family and friends. It was a great time. And he's a really stand-up guy. What I've always liked about Ory is that, he initially started off as a CrossFit affiliate, but he was always an individual in terms of putting together program design. He didn't just do what he was told to do or just buy into something, hook, line, and sinker, and not think methodically about, hey, should I use this? Should I take this out?
Yeah, he's considered he was what I consider, the black boxes out there. One of the few black boxes. Those are like the black sheep of all the CrossFit boxes, where they're actually more focused on quality coaching and not necessarily what's coming from CrossFit headquarters and just all about, let's follow the WOD or whatever else. And let's actually really focus on our clients' well-being and actually help them get stronger. I love the sound. I know.
It's like, let's not focus on the black box and WODs. But hey, why not? You gotta love terminology in CrossFit, right?
Exactly.
Like the gym is called a box.
Exactly.
It's like, okay. And then the workouts are watts.
There's a lot of subliminal things going on, right?
Come on down to the box. We're going to have a watt of a good time.
That's right. And everybody's worried about what kind of time they have with Fran. Okay. Fran is pretty tired by now. I think she should just go ahead and retire. She needs to find another line of work, man.
Yeah, a lot of trains have been ran on Fran. Oh man. So Ory, you started as a CrossFit guy over in Panama, and then you've branched off and continue to move on as a fitness professional with your own brand. What's the state of fitness like in Panama right now since when you started? Has there been a pretty big growth?
Oh man, when we started it was like 2008, I think. Yeah. Well, 2007 we were doing it. When 2008 is when we opened Briga.
Right.
And there was absolutely no other place where you could train like in a different way, right?
Right,
like kettlebell stuff.
Like a CrossFit.
So I think the next CrossFit affiliate that opened, it was like in 2010. So I think we were doing it for 2 years.
Are there just CrossFit gyms everywhere out there? Because in America, there's a CrossFit. You could throw a rock and hit a CrossFit gym in any direction.
Yeah, like you remember where in my gym area, like where my gym is.
Yeah.
I have honestly, I think like five gyms, on a 5-block ratio or something like that. But
yeah, they're all cannibalizing each other. I think the CrossFit headquarters made a mistake in just letting anyone be a CrossFit affiliate. They should have basically stipulated certain territories. Rather than because can you imagine having McDonald's right across the street from another one? Sometimes they do that for business purposes to block competition, but in terms of helping a franchise owner, it's not useful.
Yeah, and more if you are constantly talking about how much you care about the affiliates and stuff. Right? So, to me, it was crazy because they had a chance to do things the right way. When all of us became personal trainers and all that, that was already going on, and you can integrate new laws into that because, there are shitty trainers everywhere.
Yeah.
But I believe they had the chance to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And they just didn't care, So actually, a friend of mine, he actually went to the course when you came. He had a gym. He opened a gym just like mine, really. I call myself a hybrid gym or just a gym. Usually I just say I own a gym.
Right.
And they ended up opening a gym literally across the street from him. And that guy, he lasted a year or so.
Yeah.
It was bigger. Everything was new. and they were like, you know, just super CrossFit, and that was like 2-3 years ago, and it was really catching up here, so it killed him.
Yeah,
it killed him, and I've heard stories in Ecuador, like that happens all the time, and so it's crazy. I think that ended up bringing out like the worst in people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, instead of being something cool and nice and all the whole community, they always talk about, you know, everybody ended up killing each other. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the reality is there really is no community or family or any of that bullshit. Everyone's on their own.
Oh yeah.
That's why you're better off just building your own brand. I understand the appeal of someone who's a nascent trainer who's just getting into things. No one knows who the fuck you are, and you can throw a CrossFit name on your gym, and that's going to get foot traffic in. So in the short run, I see the benefit. In the long run, you're just building their brand. You have nothing. You're just another dude with a CrossFit label. Nobody's coming in there because of you. You know, they're just coming in there because you have CrossFit on, and that was the situation I was in when I was associated with Dragon Door, was that I was just building. I mean, I was leveraging them to build my brand, but I was helping build their brand more than the other way around, and that has limitations.
Definitely, that's why, like, you know, since the first time we met, you heard about Briga, like,
right?
We always were Briga, and,
right?
And since we were the first affiliate. We were the third in Latin America, but actually we were really like the first, you know? And so we couldn't use CrossFit to sell anything because no one knew about CrossFit.
Right.
You know?
Wasn't even.
So it's like, okay, you can use the McDonald's logo, but no one's ever seen it.
You can use it in, let's say, like Zambia.
Yeah, you know? So we were Briga since day one. And I remember telling people, like, you know, hey, build your own brand. Like, you're starting from scratch. Why the hell wouldn't you do your own thing? You know, you don't know what's going to happen, but your brand's going to be yours, like, forever.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you don't know where this is going, because the reality is, like, look at how much it changed, even the language they use, because I remember they used to talk about the training method, but now it's the sport. So everything is a sport. Like the other day he's like, you know, CrossFit is a sport. I'm like, no, it's not a sport. It's not a sport. Training is not a sport.
Right. When I go to the gym, it's not an athletic competition.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's
all right, clock, it's you and me, baby. So I got to.
No, I think like Maxwell made that point. He goes, when you make working out a competitive sport, you're just now all of a sudden you're just going to deteriorate. Technique is going to deteriorate because you're making it competitive, where you're competing with someone else.
Yeah, and the things you hear is like, no, it's okay to lose technique because you're going fast. Thank God I don't get to hear that.
You know what's funny though is even people who emphasize good technique, a lot of times they don't have good technique themselves in practice.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw it the other day with a guy, like supposed to be a good athlete in CrossFit, and he was doing, the ugliest deadlift you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
And that was his PR. I'm like, no, that's not a PR. That your PR. It's maybe like 60 pounds lighter, because that was shitty deadlift.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
No, a good deadlift, good deadlift technique it's poetry in motion. You can just see it. I would say, well, you can tell good deadlift technique by the person's facial expression.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Even when it's heavy, your face is going to be stressed, but you shouldn't have this agonizing look on your face.
You shouldn't like you're trying to squeeze out.
You
shouldn't look constipated, like you're about to squeeze out the last double of the century.
Well, when someone has a bad rep, their back is taking the full blunt of it, right? And that's painful. So you can see that in someone's face. if you use a leg drive, the back is just going along for the ride. I mean, the better you get at the deadlift, the more it becomes a leg exercise than a back exercise, in my opinion.
You can almost tell when they're putting it's mostly back, just by this look on their face, because they get this surprised look where their eyes are about to pop out of their face. And they're like, oh shit, did that just happen? Oh well, I got to follow through anyway. It's kind of like it's almost like take it back to our little Oz reference. It's almost like Adebisi sneaked up on them, like I got you, and it's like nothing that you can do about it. You're in this corner. So
well, it's funny you bring that up, because I was watching this clip on YouTube, and it was a powerlifting competition in prison. So it was a bunch of prison guys, and these guys are strong. I'll give them credit. But one guy had pretty good technique. The rest of them, they were just blunt. They were just mentally tough because they were using really crappy technique. I mean, they're deadlifting 650 or so. So these weren't bad. These weren't weak guys. But with some technique refinements, they'd be well over 700. But anyway, you could just, one guy ripped the bar off the ground. At least he tried to. So he just ripped the bar off the ground. The only thing that went up was his ass. His ass went up like fucking 5 feet.
There was some inmates that sat there like, oh yeah, there we go.
Every guy behind him was like, I'm going to get that muscular ass tonight.
Like, now we're talking.
I mean, he tried everything to rip that bar off the ground. You could see like the power, but the bar didn't go anywhere. The bar went off the ground maybe an inch, and then his ass is 5 feet in the air. Then he's trying to use his back to finish it. And I go, no, it doesn't work that way, man. It does not work that way. I mean, when you're deadlift, when you stay in the pocket with the deadlift, it's a good feeling. Like I had a really good deadlift workout last week. I've just been really working on technique and worked up to some. I didn't work up anywhere close to a 1 rep max, but I worked up to a heavy enough weight that I could feel it, and it felt really good. Like it's something that it just felt really light on every single rep. I was like, wow, I had to double check the plates each time just to make sure I put on everything correctly. I was like, this feels good. Back wasn't remotely stressed afterwards. So, I mean, deadlift is something where you have to be patient and really refine the technique. I think some people underestimate it because they look at it and they go, okay, you're just picking up a bar off the ground.
Yeah.
And I go, if you have that attitude, you're not going to pick up anything heavy off the ground. That's for sure.
Definitely.
And then some people wear a belt, which they think allows them to get away with any technique they want. It's like, I have a belt on now, so it doesn't matter if it's shitty technique. And like, nah, that belt's not going to help that much.
Exactly.
I think a lot of times we talked about this with Charles Poliquin. The belt can reinforce poor technique.
It does. And
now you have a weak core, and you don't care about addressing a weak core because you're using a belt to address a weak core. I mean, there's pros and cons. Every powerlifter obviously uses a belt, so there's a place for it. And I think used properly, it's definitely a performance aid. But for everyday people that are trying to get strong, you want to build strength. You don't want to use all these aids
you want to
have these build performance. Yeah. Like I'm not trying to when I deadlift, I'm not thinking about I have a competition coming up, so let me do this. I'm just thinking about I want to lift heavy weights
with good form.
Yeah, exactly, with good form, and not get injured.
I've seen people wear belts, guys and girls, at gyms, and they're pressing like 135 pounds. and they have belts, and a guy weighs like 200 pounds. I'm like, what?
Or the guy that's curling 20 pounds wearing the freaking gloves.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people wear belts and they just wear it the whole time they're in the gym
because they think that's what they're supposed to do. It's just like, okay, I'm in the gym, I need to wear a belt and I need to wear gloves. I'm like, you need to lift some fucking
and gloves.
weights.
I was like, I'm protecting my lower back. I go, you're working out and you're protecting your lower back. How about strengthening your lower back? Isn't that the point of why we're all in here?
Well, I don't want to hurt my back while I'm trying to do that. What are you talking about?
That's the basic thing. That's the greatest thing.
I mean, if you fortify your lower back, you're not gonna have the same injuries. But like I say, man, if you get really the better you get at the deadlift, at least in my experience, my body type, the more leg drive there is. The more and more it feels like a squat, which I feel the best thing most people can do to improve their deadlift is improve their squat.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my squat is going way up now, and every time my squat goes up, the deadlift goes up right with it, but not the other way around. So like if you just deadlift and you never squat, your squat numbers are gonna suck. But if you just squat and you never deadlift or you deadlift infrequently, it's not going to be as good as if you practiced it more often, but there'll be more carryover. Just like overhead press to bench press, way more carryover than the other way around. But it doesn't mean you're going to be a great bench presser if you never do it. You still have to do it. But if you just focused on the military press, you'll have a decent bench press, but definitely not the other way around. So the more I practice the squat, the better. And I've never been a great squatter, so that's the other thing. Is I go if I improve my squat numbers, that's going to have a major impact on my deadlift, and it already has. So it's been cool. I'm right in the pocket now with squatting. It's been fun. I actually really like squatting now. It's like once you get a nice groove into it, you pack. It's amazing what a physique transformation exercise it is. I mean, it's like I'm just piling on weight, not body fat. I'm like my body weight has gone up big time.
Yeah.
Since really committed to the squat.
I've gone back to training like I want to, because with the kids and stuff.
Right.
Sometimes it's hard. And that's one thing I'm working on, because my squat really sucks. Like if I compare like my deadlift with my squat, or my pressing with my squat really sucks.
Yeah, I would say there's.
But it makes sense because I spend a lot of time squatting, like doing my squats with sandbags or with kettlebells, double kettlebells and stuff.
Right.
And so I wasn't doing barbell squat that much.
Yeah.
And I was doing actually more front squatting for a while than back squat. So that was crazy, because I'm like, the hell am I doing front squats and my back squat sucks. So I started working on my back squat now.
Yeah, front squats are kind of like a luxury, right? It's like when you've gotten so good at back squats, you're looking for some variety. Then you throw in the front squat. But like, you suck.
You definitely start there.
You can't even back squat. Yeah, you can't even back squat 315, and then you're throwing in a bunch of front squats. It's like, look, man, you're not ready for variety right now.
Yeah,
get up to 4 plates, get some respectable numbers, then we can start doing all these variations.
You know what? Actually, that's something you see a lot, like in the CrossFit world.
Oh yeah.
Because they're doing all those thrusters and stuff.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't make sense, because there are a lot of guys that have a really heavy front squat, and the difference between the front and the back is like 15 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It doesn't make sense. But they just don't back squat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly. It's not because the ratio is so good. It's because their back squat is so weak.
I mean, one thing about that back squat for them is like, it wouldn't be smart for me to try to do this for time. So that's probably why they leave, back squats. You can't go quick. Yeah. You can't go fast on a heavy back squat. That's just not going to happen. Your fucking spine's going out the door. So that's what it was like. Well, since we can't go fast with this one, let's just not do it. It's not necessary. So,
I mean, I just smile when I see how things are changing for those types of gyms, because now, they're back squatting more. You see some gyms, like the guys that are bench pressing or doing floor presses. Some are working more with kettlebells, like doing windmills and stuff, or Turkish get-ups, or like different stuff, like even strongman stuff.
Right. That
when we started, I remember a lot of people, friends from the States, they used to like see our blog and stuff, and they were like, well, that's not CrossFit. I'm like, so I'm not CrossFit, right? So, we're doing what works. Like, I think we only did the whole like whiteboard, write your name, you were first thing for like 3 months, Like we've never had that, because I don't care if you were, because it's crazy. Like you see people cheating. I mean, cheating. They're like, I ended first. I did it in 10 minutes, 15. But like, dude, you would count like 1, 3, 4, 8, 11. It's crazy. I mean, why the hell would you cheat yourself?
Yeah.
But that happens every single day, and then that's what's crazy. I mean, but that's what's cool about our gym, is that some people don't even know that there's a competition, like that the CrossFit Games exist. That's how cool my clients are. Everybody's in their own little world, and they come to Briga to work out, and get away from everything.
Right.
Just work, get out. Some hang out with us, but it's not, we talk about anything but training, you know?
Yeah.
Unless obviously, you want to work on something but that's what's cool. That's why they're not obsessed like with times, and that's the big difference. But like the whole training scene down here is crazy. Like you have, I think affiliates, like CrossFit affiliates, I think there are like 15.
Yeah.
And if you take into account that like Panama City is really small, it's a lot. Like I said, I have like 5 or 6 really close to me. But everybody, obviously they have their own flavors, but they're CrossFit gyms. So that's the big difference, So like my niche, and I was telling this to Zach Gavinich one day, because we were talking about that, and I was like, my niche is really everybody that wants to train, So I have a lot of families. I have like 4 members of families at the gym at one time. Like I have 16-year-olds and their parents, and I have my friends, some of them with their sons or daughters, and they just train, And these other gyms are more focused on the whole competition, CrossFit, and I want to get to the CrossFit games, but they don't know they're never going to get there,
Yeah.
And what comes with that is that guys want to take shortcuts,
Right.
So that's become a big issue down here. We always have a nice bodybuilding scene down here, and obviously a lot of steroids, easy to get, But now the steroids, I think, are moving more in the whole.
Is it actually illegal in Panama, or it's just easy to get on the black market?
It's illegal. It's illegal, but
so it's not like Mexico where you can just walk into a pharmacy and buy one.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's illegal, but they're easy to find.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that is really like getting out of hand. Because I've had clients. Usually, the client that comes to my gym and doesn't want to do what I say, I just tell them to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
Because I don't, I've never had like someone getting injured or something happening at the gym, and I'm not gonna start now. So
right.
If I see someone that has been lifting for 2 years, and then all of a sudden he wants to do snatches or something he cannot control, and I tell him, what he needs to do first. If he doesn't want to do that, I just send him to another gym.
Right.
That's it. And I've done that in all these years. I've done that tons of times. I mean, thousands of times I've done that.
No, it's smart. You don't want to be desperate with clients.
The kids are too quiet.
No, they're quiet. They're like, okay,
that's scary.
Yeah.
Well, good deal, man. Good talking to you, and we'll definitely.
Hey, likewise, man.
Take it easy, man.
Let's stay in touch.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Nice talking to you.
Yeah, we'll definitely stay in touch more often. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, you take care, buddy.
See you guys. Man. Bye.
Our good friend Ory Ortega. Use that coupon code LLA. Go get 10% off some great products at MikeMahler.com. And how about your site?
Same thing. NewWarriorTraining.com. Use that coupon code LLA. 10% off all our products. Also head over to Patreon.com/LLA podcast. Become a monthly supporter of the show. Go ahead and start off in that little block where it says 1. Put a 0 behind it or any other number behind that. Or at the very least, you can put $5 in there and just support the show each month on a monthly basis. And that helps everything keeps going around here. And thanks for tuning in this week, everybody, and lots more good stuff on the way. All right, folks, take care.
All right, take care, everyone.